Hello, this is Class 1, Lesson 1C of the Clinical Research Associate Excellence course. I'm Daniel.omorain. The CRA Excellence course is intended to share my tips and tricks and wisdom with other CRAs who desire to become an excellent CRA. All of the ideas and tools that are presented in the course are agnostic and can be applied to almost every medical indication and almost every ClinOps position. I have over 20 years in clinical operations, most recently as a lead CRA, but I started out as a clinical coordinator. Most of the years have been in the oncology milieu, but also in vaccines, rare diseases, and pulmonary. I am based out of upstate New York in the Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse catchment, but I've worked in all the major cancer centers in the Northeast, from Cleveland to Philadelphia, New York City, Boston, and New Haven. I have experienced a lot of good things and a few challenging things, and in this course I want to share some of the wisdom and lessons learned that I experienced within the course of my career. This is the syllabus of the complete CRA Excellence course. We are still in Class 1. And this is the outline for the Class 1, Lesson 1. Again, it is the Lesson 1 is the Employer Summary Workbook, and Lesson 1C, as you can see here, is the Top 6 worksheet. So again, this is the topic for Class 1, which is the Employer Summary Workbook. And at the bottom here are all the tabs, or all the worksheets that will have an individual lesson on each one of them. Today's subject is going to be the third worksheet, which I call the Top 6. And just as a reminder, if you are a CRA employed by the PI, you should read and study and understand GCP Section 4. And if you are a sponsor CRA or a CRO CRA, you should read and study and understand GCP Section 5.18, specifically 5.18.4. Okay, the Top 6 worksheet. The world of ClinOps is divided into your admin manager and your project manager. Your admin manager does all the HR kind of things. And typically those responsibilities don't overlap with the project. So what I've experienced is that managers, line managers or admin managers, are interested in 5 things and sometimes 6. And if you stay on top of these things and you don't get behind on them, your manager will like you, and as they say in the Navy, she'll have a warm and fuzzy, meaning she's confident that things are going well and they'll go well in the future. So these are the 5 and maybe 6 things that the line manager is interested in. The first one is the status of your visit reports. When is the next draft due? When is the next final due? The next thing he or she is interested in is the status of your expense reports. The next thing is timesheets. Most employers that I've had want them to be submitted no later than noon on Friday. Sometimes they want them submitted on Thursday. There's a little bit of a ethical problem with submitting a timesheet for work that has not been done yet. Um, the world of documentation is that you can't document something that hasn't been done. And when you submit a timesheet early, you're kind of doing that, but almost all employers want the timesheets to be submitted early. And of course, if the timesheet needs correction after you submitted it, you're going to have to submit it. The next thing is training. Most CROs have a lot of training to do. Typically, most of it is done in the onboarding period, but as new SOPs come out and are promulgated, they have to be trained. So you just go into your training portal, knock it out, and get it done. Depending on the size of the sponsor and the size of your CRO, you also might have to do regular periodic updates to CTMS. I worked for a very large international company on oncology trial, and they wanted regular updates on things like when was the site supposed to be activated? When was the first subject at that site consented and enrolled? Sometimes they want to know the projected total subject enrollment and the enrollment up to date, current, to date, things like that. So you have to go in periodically and update them. For the CROs and sponsors that do require that, typically there's a way to run a report that tells you if there are any data points that are late or that are upcoming soon. So I will do another lesson down the road here on learning your portals, but if that's one of the responsibilities, you just have to do it. CTMS currency is that. The sixth one is material for your annual review. So this is not typically something that's discussed at most meetings with your line manager, but eventually you are going to have a annual review. And what I recommend you do is you keep track of the salience of your year, so that way when it's time to do it, you can provide some information to your line manager, so that way he or she can write a good, comprehensive, rich annual review. I myself have been in situations that I've had to write reviews on people that I was not familiar with their performance. It was just the nature of my position at the time. And it's very awkward. You have to be creative. Sometimes, depending on the organization, the person themselves write their own annual review and then just submit it to the manager. And then the manager tweaks it. But anyway, it's a good idea to keep a track of the things that you've done, especially the things you've done well or that you're proud of. First of all, so that way there's documentation of your good work. And second of all, to make it easier for your manager to write the report. So these are the 6 things. And if you do them regularly and stay on top of these, your life will be pretty darn good, at least half good. So one of my themes of this whole course is the importance of doing a thorough and timely assessment, and second, to be organized. So this worksheet is a really good way of conducting an assessment of how you stand on all of your outstanding um, admin tasks. Every week you're going to have to do this. You're going to have to go into the training portal and it'll tell you um, how many you have that are outstanding and when they're due. So when you meet with your line manager, you just give him or her the status. Very easy. And if you do this every week, you won't get behind. One thing I've learned about the world is that managers, auditors, and inspectors, they gravitate to tasks that are easy. And it's real easy to run a report to find out what training is overdue. Try not to get on that list. You should just never, ever get behind on training. When I have my A game going, I try to stay a month ahead. Sometimes it's difficult, but if I shoot for a month ahead and I catch it 2 weeks before it's due, I'm still in good shape. So this is a really good way of running and doing an assessment of your admin tasks and staying organized. That'll help you figure out what is the most important thing to do. So that is the top 6 worksheet. It's been useful to me, and that's the end of this lesson. 5, 6, 5, 6, 7,